really interesting startups and entrepreneurs that you can have a chat with, take a look at their products and their solutions, and hopefully you'll leave a bit more inspired today.
Na wakati mkiwa mnafanya hivyo, msisahau kuacha maoni yao, ni kwa sababu ni kwa namna hiyo pekee wanaweza wakakua. Innovation inahitaji feedback, na kupitia feedback wata improve products zao, na tutaweza kupata changamoto, suluhisho la changamoto ambazo tunakumbana nazo katika jamii zetu. Mamona Iku. She's in green. There. She's hiding her face.
Iku from Shule Direct, give us a wave.
Yes, there she is. Tunajivunia kuwa na wabunifu ndani ya nyumba. Shule Direct ni moja kati ya products ambazo kwa kweli Tanzania tunajivunia sana sana. Na tunaweza tusitambue wote ambao mko hapa sasa hivi kwa kazi zenu nzuri ambazo mnazifanya, lakini mjue wa Tanzania wanashukuru na wana appreciate bunifu zenu zinapotatua changamoto zote.
I also see a player who's been in our space for a very long time. Eligad, please do wave. Eligad works across Eastern and Southern Africa helping startups to grow and thrive. So welcome to Innovation Week.
Safi sana. Kwa hiyo tuendelee, tunasema fursa ziko nyingi sana katika ubunifu, lakini pia nitambue kipekee nafasi ya Balozi John Ulanga, tutamtambulisha baadaye, lakini yupo nasi. Balozi, naomba pia just wave Balozi. Yeah, tunajivunia sana Balozi wetu amekuwa nasi na yupo nasi. Tunashukuru sana. Naomba tujaribu kitu kimoja, nikisema ubunifu wote tunasema uchumi shindani. Ubunifu? Bado. Ubunifu? Labda kwa sababu natumia mic sauti yangu ni kubwa sana. Let me start with my own voice. Ubunifu? Asante sana. Kwa hiyo nikisikika mara moja nikisema neno ubunifu, naomba tuseme uchumi shindani. Competitive economy ndio kauli mbiu ya Innovation Week 2024. Innovation for a competitive economy. Tunaanza muda wowote sasa, mara tu baada ya mgeni rasmi kumaliza kuangalia gari la kwanza Tanzania linalotumia umeme. Atakuja kujiunga nasi, na hilo gari limepaki nje ya ukumbi, kwa hiyo tupate pia nafasi kwenda kuliona vitu viwili vitatu tunajivunia. Unaweza ukajiuliza maswali, gari linalotumia umeme kwa nini sasa hivi, na vitu labda bei ya mafuta? Hapana. Kila gari inapochoma mafuta maana yake tunaharibu ozone layer, tunapata madhara ya mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Kwa hiyo bunifu za namna hii, magari yanayotumia umeme, tuna magari Tanzania sasa hivi yanayotumia gesi, naamini wengi wetu tunayatumia au tumewahi kuyatumia. Uber nyingi, Catherine, are using gas charged engines.
They definitely are. I'm a big fan of Uber. Are you?
Not so much yet.
Yes. We'd also like to recognize the presence of Dr. Mehdi Hussein, Deputy High Commissioner with the British High Commission to Tanzania. Dr. Mehdi, please wave to the adoring fans.
Tunashukuru sana. Thank you for being with us this morning. We know you're on the program, so we look forward to also grasping what you've prepared for us this morning. Catherine, kuna msemo unasema ukitaka kwenda haraka. Do you know it? If you want to go fast,
go alone.
Go alone. If you want to go further,
go together.
Tunashukuru na kutambua wadhamini wetu wote. Kama tunavyofahamu, Innovation Week inaletwa kwetu na COSTECH pamoja na Funguo Innovation Program, lakini tunapenda sana kuwashukuru
UNDP,
European Union,
UK International Development,
UNICEF,
Enable,
Vodacom,
and UN Women.
lakini pia tunapenda kuwashukuru kwa mchango wao UNCDF
Stanbic Business Incubator,
pamoja na Serengeti Bites. Hawa wamewezesha Innovation Week 2024 kufana kwa kiasi hiki.
Collaboration only happens when a community comes together. And this is what you will see this week. An incredible community with different skill sets coming together for 1 week to learn, to connect, to grow, and to hopefully be incredibly inspired.
Tukiwa tunasubiri sasa mgeni wa heshima kuingia, labda tupate tangazo moja kutoka technical team, alafu tutakuwa tayari kabisa kuanza ratiba yetu. Karibuni wote na tunawashukuru, tuna regret, it's polite way to say sorry, kwa kuchelewa kuanza ratiba yetu, lakini tunaanza sasa na tutamaliza katika muda ambao tumepanga. Karibuni wote.
Unlocking innovation for a competitive economy. We have a lineup of interesting and impactful speakers and innovators showcasing their solutions and products. Join us for a week of learning, connecting, and fun. See you at GNICC from the 21st to the 24th of May for Innovation Week 2024.
Mara nyingine tena, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, East Africa Innovation Week inakuja kwetu tukiwa tunaangalia Innovation for Competitive Economy. Wewe mbunifu, wewe mwenye mawazo makubwa na mapana, wewe unatafuta fursa za kukua kwenye tasnia hii ya ubunifu, unajipangaje? Njoo tuwe pamoja, tujifunze pamoja, tukue pamoja, tufurahi pamoja kwenye wiki juma zima la innovation hapa Dar es Salaam GNICC kuanzia tarehe 21 mpaka 24 ya mwezi wa 5. Hii sio ya kukosa. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, East Africa Innovation Week inakuja kwetu tukiwa tunaangalia Innovation for Competitive Economy. Wewe ubunifu, wewe mwenye mawazo makubwa na mapana, wewe unatafuta fursa za kukua kwenye tasnia hii ya ubunifu, unajipangaje? Njoo tuwe pamoja, tujifunze pamoja, tukue pamoja, tufurahi pamoja kwenye wiki juma zima la innovation hapa Dar es Salaam GNICC kuanzia tarehe 21 mpaka 24 mwezi wa 5. Hii sio kosa.
We love to see our partners in the house. Welcome to the team from Costec. Do we need some music? A little bit of music to get us moving? Are we worried about me being up here? Are we scared? We don't have enough energy? Can we get a bit of music to get them moving? Tech team in the back, do you got something to get us moving? Give us some energy?
The emperor, the conqueror, the champion, the lion is here. Hey! Hey! Zabu, zabu,
Welcome to the lady in red, the amazing Carol Ndosi, CEO of the Launchpad Tanzania, who will be on our panel later this morning. Carol, wave to the crowd.
DJ, Can we all please stand up as the guest of honor is getting into the venue? Naomba wote tusimame na tupige makofi wakati mgeni wetu rasmi akiingia ukumbini. Karibu. Ruka kiti chako hapa mbele. Balozi, karibu sana. Ubunifu, tunajibu kwa uchumi shindani. Ubunifu, tunamwogopesha mgeni rasmi, anaweza kadhani hatuko tayari. Ubunifu, tunashukuru sana. Profesa Caroline Nombo, katibu mkuu Wizara ya Elimu, Sayansi na Teknolojia, tunayo heshima kubwa sana kuwa nawe siku ya leo kutuzindulia wiki ya ubunifu mwaka 2024 ambayo ni ya 10 kuandaliwa. Naomba tumpigie makofi mengi sana.
Dr. Amos Nungu, the Director General of the Commission of Science and Technology for Tanzania. Thank you for joining us this morning, but also thank you for the Commission's continued effort towards pushing for innovation within the country and for being such an incredible partner.
Tunashukuru sana. Naomba nitambue uwepo wa ndugu Sergio Valdini ambaye ni Deputy Resident Representative wa UNDP. Naomba tumpigie makofi. Amewakilishwa.
Mr. Mehdi Hussein, the Deputy High Commissioner for the British High Commission to Tanzania. Can we give him a round of applause?
Tunaye pia balozi wa Seychelles hapa nchini Tanzania, Mary Von Poole. Naomba tutambue uwepo wake. Naomba tumpigie makofi.
Ambassador Amin Pungwe, who was trying to not sit in the front row. Retired Ambassador, Board Chairman of Kilombero Sugar Company and MultiChoice Tanzania. Karibu sana balozi.
Yeye huwa anapenda kujiita balozi mkongwe. Tunafurahi sana kuwa nawe, lakini nitambue kwa mara nyingine tena uwepo wa kaka yangu balozi John Ulanga, Director of International Trade and Economic Diplomacy, Wizara ya Mambo ya Nje na Ushirikiano wa Afrika Mashariki. Tunashukuru sana balozi kuwa nawe.
Mr. Cedric Morel, Head of Cooperation for the European Union. Welcome to the day today.
Tunashukuru sana, lakini Cedric amekuja na the entire team from the European Union. We recognize and appreciate your presence with us this morning. Tunashukuru sana. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, siku ya leo japokuwa ni fupi sana na ni mwanzo, lakini pia tutakuwa tuna mdahalo, muda sio mrefu. Kwa hiyo naomba nichukue nafasi hii pia kuwatambua speakers wetu wote ambao mtashiriki kwenye huo mdahalo. Tunashukuru sana. Naomba pia tuwapigie makofi.
We'd like to also thank our partners and sponsors whom without this week would not be happening. And just to let you know, Innovation Week does not only happen in Dar. Where else are we having Innovation Week, Austin?
Innovation Week inatokea na wiki ijayo tutakuwa mkoani Tanga ambapo tutaifanya kwa ukubwa katika ngazi ya kitaifa, lakini pia ipo katika mkoa wa Iringa.
We're going to Mwanza for Innovation Week.
Lakini pia Morogoro.
We're going to Arusha as well.
Hayo ni baadhi tu ya mikoa ambayo Innovation Week imefika, lakini bila kusahau
we are going to Zanzibar. So Innovation Week 2024 is national, ladies and gentlemen, not just for us in Dar.
Na tunashukuru sana kwa kuwezeshwa au kupewa nguvu Innovation Week na COSTECH pamoja na Funguo Innovation Program, lakini hawa wameshikwa mkono na
UNDP,
tunawashukuru sana European Union,
the UK International Development,
UNICEF,
Enable,
Vodacom,
UN Women,
lakini pia tumepewa nguvu na UNCDF,
Stanbic Business Incubator.
Serengeti Bites, tunawashukuru sana.
Austin, let's not forget.
Ndio.
Let's not forget all this media here that's going to make us look good and going to make everyone else look good on social media. So I think we should just say thank you to them now, because who doesn't want to look good on Instagram, right?
Lakini Catherine, kazi ya media, na Balozi John Ulanga pia atatuambia vizuri kwa sababu ni mdau mzuri sana kwenye media, sio kukufanya wewe uonekane vizuri, ni kupeleka taarifa kwa hadhara, kupeleka taarifa kona zote duniani kwamba Innovation Week 2024 is happening in Tanzania. Kwa hiyo tunashukuru media kwa kazi yenu nzuri na tunatambua kazi ambayo mnaendelea kuifanya, bila kusahau innovators na exhibitors. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, tunao innovators na exhibitors wengi, umetoka kuona baadhi hapo nje, na tutakuomba baadaye kabisa upitie na baadhi ya mabanda ambayo wamekuja kuexhibit kuonyesha ubunifu wao katika Innovation Week 2024.
Thank you, Austin. And with that, I think we need to get started with the good stuff.
Right, but before we get started, we need to also recognize the presence of enthusiasts. Kuna watu wengi sana wamekuja, Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, ambao wanapenda kufahamu kitu gani kinaendelea katika innovation space, na pia tunatambua uwepo wenu, lakini invited guests, members of the press, yet again, ladies and gentlemen, Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Kazi endelee.
Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
Kazi endelee.
Ubunifu. Ubunifu.
Shindani.
Innovation for a competitive economy. Innovation
For a competitive economy.
CR. Good stuff you were mentioning about earlier. Tell us.
So, why are we here today? We're here today because we're setting the stage for what will be a week-long exploration of innovation, of solutions, of inspiration, of products, of ideas that could all drive us towards a competitive economy. Our theme today is speed dating with the future, navigating Tanzania's journey towards 2050. And we all know, maybe we don't, well, let's check and see. How many of us know that the people leading us 2050 and beyond are currently under the age of 18? Oh, wow, okay. Just in case you didn't know, our leadership 2050 and beyond is currently under the age of 18. What does that mean? That means when we're sitting here thinking and listening to these incredible ideas and the speakers we have lined up for us this week, we need to be thinking about how we're growing and building that future. How are we really thinking about developing our human capital? What kind of skills are we thinking about? And that's going to set the tone for us this morning.
Na tunayo furaha sasa kwamba pamoja na hayo, speed dating with the future, navigating Tanzania's innovation journey to 2050, itakapofika 2050, Tanzania yetu itakuwa na taswira gani? Tutakuwa naye baadaye kidogo sana, Balozi John Ulanga, ambaye atakuwa ni keynote speaker wetu wa siku ya leo. Lakini kabla hatujafika kwake, tupate neno la ukaribisho, lakini pia tupate neno la ufunguzi. Kwa kuanza, tumkaribishe Dr. Nungu, ambaye ni mkurugenzi mtendaji wa COSTECH, ili aje kutupa neno la ukaribisho. Akiwa anakuja, naomba tumpigie makofi mengi sana. Dr. Nungu atafuatiwa na Mr. Sergio Valdini, ambaye ni Deputy Representative wa UNDP na mwakilishi wake atakuja kuzungumza nasi. Karibu Dr. Nungu.
Professor Korai Nombo, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. Mr. Mahid Hussein, Deputy High Commissioner, British High Commission Tanzania, Barozi John Uranga, Director of International Trade and Economic Diplomacy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation, Mr. Cedric Merer, Head of Cooperation, European Union, Ms. Catherine Gifford, Deputy Country Representative, UN Women Tanzania, Mr. Sergio Vardin, Deputy Representative, UNDP, Ms. Merivon Poole, Honorary Consul, Republic of Seychelles, Barozi Ame Mpungwe, Veteran of the Innovation Ecosystem and the Chairman of the Kilombero Sugar Company, distinguished guests, moderators, panelists, innovators, members of the press, partners in the Innovation Week, ladies and gentlemen. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Yes, our platform is, multilingual, but allow me to use both languages. Nianze kusema karibuni sana kwenye hii wiki ya ubunifu 2024 inayoanza leo, lakini pia ni mwanzo wa wiki ya kitaifa ya elimu, ujuzi na ubunifu kule Tanga wiki ijayo. Tukiangalia kwenye mabango inasema hii ni 10th edition, kwa maana ya kwamba ni mara ya 10 tunafanya wiki ya ubunifu. Mimi langu niwakaribishe, lakini kwa ufupi ni kwamba serikali kupitia COSTECH amekuwa mdau kwenye wiki ya ubunifu kwa sababu tunaona tija iliyopo, na wiki ya ubunifu tunachukua kama mojawapo ya yale mazingira wezeshi ambayo serikali inatakiwa iweke kuhakikisha kwamba ubunifu unawezekana. Kwa hiyo wiki ya ubunifu ni jukwaa ambalo limekuwa naleta pamoja serikali, watunga sera, wabunifu wenyewe, washirika wa maendeleo, vyuo vikuu, pamoja na mengine, kuonyesha hizi bunifu zetu, lakini pia kujadiliana. Na nimefurahi kwamba mgeni rasmi wakati akipita kwenye banda la Vodacom, pale mjadala umeanza tayari. Mjadala umeanza, mgeni rasmi ameambiwa na Vodacom kwamba wanataka ku-launch product ambayo inakwenda kusaidia kujifunza na kufundisha. Lakini mgeni rasmi mwenye dhamana masuala ya elimu akasema kama tusipo-engage, tusipokuwa na mazungumzo, nyewe mtasha ya kwenu, lakini kesho mtasha ya kwangu, sababu sijui mnafanya kitu gani. Baadaye mnasema serikali haitupi fursa sisi private sector, lakini kumbe hatukupata fursa kwa jukwaa kama hili kujadiliana na kusema kwamba sisi tunafanya mpaka hapa, wewe fanya mpaka hapa, au kama sivyo si serikali, matakwa yetu ni haya hapa, haya ndio matamanio yetu, kwa tufanyie, tuletee, tuhudumie jamii. Kwa hiyo tunajivunia hii wiki ya ubunifu kwa sababu imekuwa ni jukwaa la kuwezesha hayo majadiliano. Kwa hiyo ninafurahi sana na nachukua fursa hii kuwakaribisha kwenye hii wiki ya ubunifu mara ya 10. Jana tulikuwa pale COSTECH, tulikuwa na waandishi wa habari kwenye ile symposium, tulijadili mengi, lakini sasa leo tuanze rasmi mjadala huu wa wiki nzima hapa, alafu wiki ijayo tuende Tanga. Niwashukuru sana na karibuni sana. Lakini pia kwa our development partners, I was just confirming that Innovation Week is a platform. It's a platform that allow engaging the various stakeholders in the ecosystem. It has been so for the last 10 years, and the COSTECH, on behalf of the government, has been working with the partners. Previously, the UK aid through Human Development Innovation Fund, later Funguo, to make sure this platform give room for dialogue, meeting, showcasing of innovative products. So we are proud of that, and we want to see more happening. And we are glad that everybody who is here today, and we look forward for more engagement. I was giving an example that today's event, our permanent secretary went through the Vodacom booth, and the engagement started. That Vodacom, they have a product they were planning to launch next week, but the ministry responsible for education or TAMISEMI, if they are not involved, if they don't know the product, then Vodacom will engage straight with the teachers. But maybe the government through Ministry of Education or TAMISEMI, they have other plans because they are not engaged in the Vodacom product. So it is a good platform like this one to engage, to discuss, to merge our plans so that we can service better the common mwananchi. So karibuni sana for the Innovation Week 2024. Asanteni.
Asante sana, Dr. Nungu, but also for reminding us that this has been a journey of many people from across the country, and the adventure, ladies and gentlemen, is only just beginning. Can I now invite Mr. Sergio Valdini, Deputy Resident Representative for UNDP, to the stage, please.
Good morning, Professor Caroline Nombo, Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Dr. Amos Nungo, Director General COSTECH, Mr. Mehdi Hussein, Deputy High Commissioner of the British High Commissioner here in Tanzania, Mr. Cedric Merrill, Head of Cooperation of the European Union, Ambassador John Ulanga, Ambassador and Director of International Trade and Economic Diplomacy, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Ami Mpungwe, retired ambassador, Board of Chairman of Kilombero Sugar Company and MultiChoice, Tanzania. Dear innovator, entrepreneurs, investor, member of the press, colleagues of the UN, esteemed guest, ladies and gentlemen, habari za asubuhi na karibuni wote. My Swahili ends here. I'm glad to get this great opportunity to welcome you to this 10th episode of Innovation Week Tanzania 2024. For a decade now, Innovation Week has been a platform for collaboration and progress in innovation. This year, the theme, Innovation for a Competitive Economy, or Ubunifu kwa Uchumi Shindani, highlights the crucial role of innovation in driving Tanzania competitiveness on the global stage. We have just seen yesterday on the press that Tanzania is hitting the news as it, for the first time this year, met the criteria for graduation from the status of the United Nations Least Development Country, LDCs, and might graduate in the next 3 years if the review goes well, with few other countries in the East African region. And this is a very good news, but at the same time, the phasing out of benefits associated with being an LDC could present challenges to integrate into the global economy. Hence, innovation is truly a key ingredient to strengthening the Tanzanian economy to prepare for such graduation, as some supportive measure in favor of LDC, like exclusive access to some specific international support in the area of trade and development, can be lost. Through diverse activity that will be taking place in the course of the week, we will all explore the transformative power of innovation across key areas: digital transformation, green economy, financial inclusion, human capital development, and blue economy and sustainable tourism. UNDP, through the Funguo Innovation Program, is proud to support this outstanding event in collaboration with COSTECH and our ecosystem partner. Our collective efforts are aimed to fostering an environment where ideas can flourish and innovation can thrive, paving the way for sustainable development and economic prosperity. We wouldn't have made this far if were not invaluable support from our partners. Let me take this opportunity to thank the European Union, the British government, for the continued support to the Funguo program, through which we make Innovation Week possible alongside our partner COSTECH. I would also like to acknowledge the contribution from UNICEF and UN Women, and from the private sector, Vodacom and Abel. This event would not have been possible with our partners, who join us in the planning and implementation of this extraordinary event. Stanbic Biashara Incubator, DTBI, Serengeti Bites, amongst others. We thank you very much. My role was not to bore you, so with too many words. Who knows me know well that I'm not. And I just want to welcome you to this opportunity to engage, to inspire, and to collaborate. Let us work together to harness the power of innovation to build a brighter future, more inclusive and more competitive for Tanzania entrepreneurship. Thank you. I wish you all the productive and inspiring Innovation Week. Karibuni sana.
Tumepata maneno ya ufunguzi kutoka kwake Dr. Amos Nungu, DG wa COSTECH, lakini pia Mr. Sergio Valdini ambaye ni Deputy Resident Representative wa UNDP Tanzania. Nilisema awali na ninafurahi tena kusema awali, hawa wawili wameendelea kuhakikisha Funguo inasonga mbele. Kwa naomba tuwapigie tena makofi. Thank you so much, Dr. Nungu, but also Mr. Sergio, for your welcoming remarks. I now have the pleasure and honor to invite Mr. Mehdi Hussein, the Deputy High Commissioner, British High Commission to Tanzania, also for the opening remarks, to be followed by Mr. Cedric Merrell, Head of Cooperation for the European Union. Akiwa nakuja, naomba tumpigie makofi. Asante sana. Ubunifu wa uchumi shindani. Let's do that. Ubunifu. Asante. Karibu.
Thank you. Permanent Secretary, Minister for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Caroline Nombo, Ambassador John Olanga, Minister for Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation, Director General of the Tanzania Commission for Science and Technology, Dr. Amos Nungu, Deputy Representative of the United Nations Development Programme, Mr. Sergio Valdini, Head of Cooperation of the European Union, Mr. Cedric Merrell, Ambassador Ami Mpunge, Board Chairman of Kilombero Sugar, distinguished guests and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Mabibi na Mabwana. The UK government is delighted to participate in this opening ceremony of Innovation Week Tanzania as it marks its 10th edition. Thank you very much for the invitation to share in this week's events and to say a few words as the programme gets underway this morning. On behalf of the United Kingdom, I wish to congratulate the Government of Tanzania under the leadership of Her Excellency, President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, for its ongoing work and its continued commitment to promoting innovation, technological advancement, and business development in Tanzania. Innovation enables Tanzanian businesses to access, to compete, and to trade with both emerging and frontier markets across the region and internationally. Innovation generates ideas and adaptable technologies that optimize production and provision of services. Innovation creates the jobs that are fundamental to achieving sustained economic growth. Innovation fosters the key factors that will enable Tanzania to consolidate and drive its economic growth and its continued competitiveness. To everyone involved in this week, under the theme of Innovation for a Competitive Economy, I commend you for your drive and creativity, for without this, innovation would not be possible. I know this week's events and conversations and the ideas that will flow from it, both here in Dar es Salaam and nationwide, fosters dialogue and shares best practice. It drives innovation into the next decade. We look forward to celebrating the next 10-year milestone with you. This week's gathering comes at an important time for all development stakeholders as we look ahead to Tanzania's Development Vision 2050 and how we work together to leverage innovation and enable Tanzania to achieve its socio-economic growth targets. For over 10 years, the UK has been a key partner of innovation in Tanzania, from our support to the UK aid-funded Human Development Innovation Programme, HDIF, to our current support of the Funguo Innovation Programme, to our co-funding of Funguo alongside the European Union and alongside UNDP. We remain committed to fostering innovation in Tanzania through supporting and enabling a safe environment for impactful startups, businesses and civil society organizations, many of whom are in the room today. This commitment was reaffirmed when our Minister for Development and Africa, Minister Mitchell, visited Tanzania last month and signed on behalf of the UK government the UK-Tanzania Mutual Prosperity Fund, and as part of this, the United Kingdom is committing an extra £3 million to the Funguo Innovation Programme. We look forward to continuing this journey with you as proud supporters and champions for the Tanzania startup ecosystem. Please join me to commend the effort of fellow donors for valuing this initiative alongside us. Congratulations to the Funguo Innovation Programme for bringing us here all together. I would also like to thank our key partners from across the private sector, media houses, and non-governmental organisations. Your role is as valuable as any in our work, and it is highly appreciated. Thank you, and I wish you all the best. Asante sana, na kila na heri. Thank
you very much, Mr. Mehdi Hussein. Joe, I'm just saying I'm here. £3 million, I'm here. Happy to help you spend it any way you want. On behalf of the innovators and entrepreneurs in the room today, we'd like to thank the government and people of the United Kingdom for continuing to support innovation in our ecosystem. Can I now invite Mr. Cedric Morel, Head of Cooperation for the European Union.
Professor Caroline Nombo, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Ambassador John Ulanga, other ambassadors, including retired ones. I guess when you're ambassador once, you are for life. Director General of COSTECH, senior government officials, my colleague Mehdi Hussein from the British High Commission and fellow development partners, particularly the UNDP, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, media representatives, good morning, Abariza Subuhi. I am delighted to be with you today to commemorate the start of the Tanzania Innovation Week. It is heartwarming to see many young faces beyond the first row, but also in the first row, eager to engage and make a difference together. Innovative solutions are necessary ingredients for prosperity of any nation. Those nations which excel at it will develop faster and leapfrog development. Therefore, it is a necessity for development strategies to build and enhance innovation capacities to accelerate growth. Also, we, on the European side, have made this commitment to innovative solutions, and we made it the center of our Green Deal strategy. The Green Deal is our commitment to making Europe climate neutral by 2050 and become the world's first climate neutral continent. We have to be ambitious, and innovation is key to addressing the different global challenges like climate change, loss of biodiversity, urban stress, waste, pollution. Innovation is necessary for a nation to develop, but simultaneously also poses challenges and sometimes immense problems to a society in its ways of doing things and its regulatory norms. Indeed, by its definition, innovation will provoke challenge and will disrupt. You know you are good in an innovation week by the number of times you pronounce the word disruptive. So let's try to be disruptive. How a nation will deal with these challenges will determine its growth trajectory. Do we allow everything and anything to take full advantage of the wonders of the mind? Do we encourage, support, and nourish crazy ideas, which could lead in no ways of harnessing electricity, curing illnesses, feeding people, sharing knowledge, and teaching children? Or shall we prioritize to protect customers, safeguard traditions and customs, and rely on well-tested methods and processes? The answer is probably not one or the other, but a mix of the two. But depending on which side a society will lean towards or will feel more comfortable with, will definitely affect and directly affect its growth trajectory. For these important deliberations and decisions to take place in a safe and trusted environment, the Innovation Week, now in its 10th edition, is the ideal platform bringing together stakeholders from all corners to work towards a common goal, harnessing innovation for the prosperity of Tanzania. I hope with each discussion, more questions can be resolved, and step by step, a more conducive environment can be built for innovation and startups to flourish. We are yet to see a startup policy or a startup act for Tanzania, which would finally provide a definition of what is a startup. Is it just another name for any new business? Or if not, what exactly it is? It is important to define these fundamental terms for Tanzania so we all understand and discuss around the same parameters. How can this new entity called startup raise funds? Do we need new tools, alternative funding mechanisms to make funds more accessible, to take their bet with Tanzanian startups? How do we attract more early stage investors, such as angel investors, venture capital, impact funds, etc.? How can the regulatory environment be more understanding of new concepts and unique models to allow innovation to swiftly move from the idea to the commercialization. Do we have the right skills, often highly technical, to allow our ideas to move and to scale up? To develop Tanzania to a startup heaven, what is missing? What needs to be done? I hope the above and many more questions will be addressed during the Innovation Weeks and solutions will start to crystallize. I just want to assure you that the European Union has been and will continue to be a keen partner in this space. We are directly supporting your efforts through a handful of main avenues. The Funguo program you have seen being prominently displayed today. This is the program where, together with other partners, we aim to unlock the potential of Tanzania's innovators and entrepreneurs and help them scale up, among others through providing grants. So far more than 40 investees have benefited from this facility, and we want more of you to join. Secondly, the Digital for Tanzania program, which we finance, we support the development of policy reforms that aim to strengthen the digital economy. We work closely with the public and private operators to increase access to digital financial services in Tanzania, and we support the fintech innovation ecosystem to drive digital innovation. Three, through the Begin Innovation and Growth program, we support the Ministry of Investment and Planning to accelerate the blueprint regulatory reform agenda and improve the business environment for enterprises to invest, grow, and prosper. 4, through a program called Green and Smart Cities, where we support at local level innovation, and in particular we have been partnering, it was mentioned before by the moderators that the Innovation Week happens notably in Mwanza and Tanga, and we have supported what happened in Mwanza, and we will be there in Tanga too. And 5, we also support the establishment of a venture capital fund to be hosted by the Capital Markets and Security Authority in Tanzania, with the first capitalization funded by the European Union. So these are a few examples of how we propose to partner with you. EU Global Gateway Strategy aims to finance big, transformative, and impactful changes in Tanzania, and we focus on spurring a rule-based and sustainable investment climate and bring more European business and investment to Tanzania. We are talking today of a speed date with different scenarios of the future. Let us find a good match for a better future for all. I wish you fruitful deliberation throughout the week, and please be disruptive. Thank you.
Cedric, thank you very much. I was wondering if this jumping off the stage is part of you being disruptive, but I liked it. Let's give you a round of applause. Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I now have the pleasure to invite Ambassador John Ulanga. John Ulanga is coming to talk to us about the speed date. Again, what it is that we anticipate will happen in the future and how should we prepare for that. John Ulanga is the Director of International Trade and Economic Diplomacy, Wizara ya Mambo ya Nje na Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Karibu John. Lakini kabla John hajapata floor, naomba a bridge kidogo. Naomba a quick bridge wakati John anaweka presentation yake vizuri. Karibu.
Unlocking
innovation for a competitive economy. We have a lineup of interesting and impactful speakers and innovators showcasing their solutions and products. Join us for a week of learning, connecting, and fun. See you at GNICC from the 21st to the 24th of May for Innovation Week 2025.
Good morning. Good morning. Somebody said young people are beyond the first row, but I don't feel the energy of young people. Good morning. Thank you. Professor Caroline Nombo, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, Science and Technology, distinguished guests in the high table on the front row, innovators, supporters of innovators, visionaries, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me thank the organizers for giving me the honor and the challenge to share my thoughts. I was talking to Joseph the other day and I said, okay, you have given me this opportunity, but what exactly do you want me to say? And he goes, just share your thoughts, your confusions, and your ideas. So I'll hold him accountable if you think I'm just going everywhere. But I would want to share my thoughts as I believe we are now embarking on a journey to explore the innovation trajectory of our country towards the year 2050. 25 years ago, our milestone was the year 2025. Now we are just about to reach 2025. So what's the trajectory going towards the next milestone, which is the year 2050? And now we are living in an era where technological advancements are accelerating daily. The pace of change of technology is actually accelerating daily. And we find ourselves standing at a threshold of a future that is brimming with unprecedented possibilities. Somebody usually says, probably in the next 15 to 20 years, death could be optional because of what technology could provide. So our mission today, and I think the purpose of this week here in Dar and elsewhere, will be to outline what I believe should be a comprehensive vision that harmonizes policy and economic strategies with economic technological innovations, ensuring a prosperous, inclusive, and a sustainable Tanzania. Now let's look at the context of our journey, because if we really need to truly understand where we are going, we must first appreciate where we come from and where we stand now. For those who are as old as me, or older than me, there was a presentation made by the government of Tanzania, a delegation of the government of Tanzania, to the third United Nations Conference on the least developed countries that happened in Brussels in May 2001, just about 23, 24 years ago. And this is what the delegation said about our country. I quote, with a per capita income of around US dollars 270 as of the year 1999, Tanzania is amongst the poorest nations in the world. It continues to say, agriculture remains the mainstay of the economy, accounting for almost 50% of the GDP in real terms. In 1999, the report goes on to say, as an example, agriculture accounted for 48.6%, 48.9% of GDP, followed by wholesale, retail trade, restaurants, etc. 25 years later, our GDP per capita is above 1,000. We are no longer one of the poorest countries in the world. Now, as Sergio was saying, the discussion is actually even to remove Tanzania amongst the LDCs. Agriculture contributes to around 25% of GDP, which is a direction of middle-income countries are supposed to be taking. Agriculture has to contribute below 20%. So that's the direction we are taking. And now services, manufacturing, industry, and other sectors have taken. So a lot has happened over the last 25 years. We've made significant progress with burgeoning sectors such as tourism, mining, telecommunication, etc. We could not have said the same 25 years ago. So the Vision 2025, which was launched right around that time, 98, 99, 2000, laid a very strong foundation for this transformation, emphasizing on industrialization, human capital development, and infrastructure improvement. Now we have to look, and we are looking towards 2050. We should aim to build upon this foundation with a very clear-eyed focus on the opportunities that are ahead of us, but also the challenges that always come with those opportunities. So we must do whatever it takes to grab those opportunities, but also we must do whatever it takes to address the challenges that will come with those opportunities. Because the type of the levers that we use to get us here will not necessarily be functional to get us to where we want in the year 2050, because the environment is different and the setup has changed. So we need to think differently, we need to talk differently, we need to act differently. Let's do a bit of setting up the vision, what's the policy and economic framework. Because as far as innovations is concerned, our vision for 2050 should be a Tanzania that is not only a regional leader in innovation, but also a global player in digital economy. So we should aim high not only to operate regionally, but also become a global player. Now, for that to happen, it requires a very robust policy framework that encourages innovation, that encourages investment in innovation, and that also encourages inclusivity. I would propose what I call 5 pillars that I think are important for our policy and our economic strategy. The first pillar, and I'm so glad, oh, she just stepped out, the permanent secretary is around for education. The first pillar should be education and human capital development. The investment that we need to put going forward is not the investment only in brick and mortar, but should be investment in a knowledge economy. Therefore, the first pillar should be education and human capital. By 2050, I believe Tanzania, yes, I'm glad you're back, Professor. So I was saying the first pillar is education and human capital development. By 2050, Tanzania must transform its education system to be future ready, completely future ready. This means, of course, integrating STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, from primary to tertiary, fostering a culture of innovation from the very low levels and from very young age. Vocational training and lifelong learning initiatives are crucial. Technology must evolve and it must be part of our workforce, such that continuous skills development need to ensure that our citizens remain competitive in a very dynamic job market. Our teaching staff, not only they need to be digital natives, but they also need to be digital gurus and digital pioneers, because they are the ones that will drive change in our education system. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is infrastructure development, because to support innovation and technological improvement or advancements, we must invest heavily in infrastructure. You know, in the past, maybe 30, 40 years ago, information would move with the same pace as movement through our physical infrastructure. We were depending on letters, physical letters, Post office was the most important institution in terms of moving information from point A to point B. But now, information is moving faster than our own movement as people. So we really need to ensure, of course, cars or people cannot move that fast, but our infrastructure, the roads, the ports, whether the seaports or the airports, the railways, have also to reflect the advancement that we are seeing in technology. So physical infrastructure is an area that I think in the next 25 years we need to do a lot more to attract, especially attracting private sector investment in this space. Because even if you look at the success we've had in technology space over the last 25 years, is because we have also been able to attract a lot of investment and innovation from private sector. For digital infrastructure, I think we should have a goal that within this decade, latest by the year 2030, we should have internet for all. It should be a commodity that is available, affordable, everywhere. Because of course, this is now the currency of the future and not the distant future, the near future. The third pillar, so I've said the first is human capital development, the second is infrastructure, the third pillar is regulatory environment. We should have a conducive environment or a conducive regulatory environment that is essential for fostering innovation. Of course, it has an aspect of updating our legal frameworks to accommodate emerging technologies such as AI, blockchain, biotechnology, etc. And again, striking a balance between regulation and innovation, ensuring that new technologies can thrive, but again, safeguarding interests of our citizens. But for this to happen, our regulators need to be either at par or ahead of industry players as far as innovation is concerned. Because if our regulators are not as par, the tendency for regulators is to stop innovation while they are playing catch up. But if our regulators are ahead, regulatory agencies will act as facilitators as opposed to being controllers. So the fourth pillar is economic diversification. Because we need to diversify our economy to reduce our reliance on traditional sectors. Now we are saying economies that are highly advanced are knowledge economies. Now for our economy to be knowledge-based or to be a knowledge economy, we need to move from the brick and mortar traditional sectors to new sectors that create new avenues for growth. Of course, that involves attracting a lot of investment in high-tech industries, attracting investments in renewable energy, attracting investments in creative industries. So encouraging entrepreneurship, supporting startups through either incubators, accelerators, and this is what institutions or programs like Ufunguo are doing. The fifth pillar that I'm putting as a proposal is around sustainability and inclusivity. That our vision for 2050 should be one where economic growth is both sustainable and inclusive. So we must, of course, prioritize environmental conservation, renewable energy adaptation, and the circular economy principles. Technology innovations can do exactly that, to ensure that all Tanzanians benefit from technological advancements through various investments in those areas. Now, let me also throw a couple of ideas, maybe 5, 6 ideas on developments that I think are going to shape the future. And I can tell you, I'm not going to say anything you don't know, but I'm just putting them out there as concepts to think and talk about this morning. Some of those adjustments, of course, we all know of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And we already are seeing transformative aspects coming from artificial intelligence and machine learning. But going forward, they will play a lot more pivotal role in transforming various sectors, such as healthcare, agriculture, finance, and even education. I was listening to to Dr. Nungu this morning, talking about the role institutions like Vodacom will be playing or wants to play in sectors as education. In the next 10 to 15 years, everybody will be a source of education. So how do we create a mechanism where education policymakers are actually ahead to enable as much sources of education as possible? Because I always tell people, by the year 2050, Tanzania will have a population of about 127 million people, double the population we have now. Do we think we'll still be able to send our kids to classrooms every day, send teachers every day, and education can only be disseminated through classroom setups? It has to be completely different. So artificial intelligence, machine learning will provide a lot more opportunities to educate our children, but also educate as part of relearning for adults like ourselves. Blockchain technology, we hear about blockchain every day, but it brings transparency, it brings security and efficiency in various industries. For example, blockchain in finance in the future will revolutionize the payment systems and enable very secure transactions. In supply chain management, it will ensure product authenticity and traceability, benefiting both the businesses and the consumers. So government services will also be highly enhanced through the use of blockchain technologies, providing, again, secure and transparent public records. Another idea, Internet of Things. We hear about Internet of Things and connectedness of either devices and systems. They will create smart environments in homes, cities, and industries. As you are speaking, technology is already available to enable me, with my phone here, to know which lights are on at my house, which air conditions are on, switch them off or switch them on, and do whatever I do and see everything at my house here, which means it will help to create energy efficiencies, to increase security, etc. But in agriculture, Internet of Things or IoT-enabled sensors will monitor soil conditions, and are already doing that, optimizing irrigation, leading to increased productivity and resource conservation. In industries, IoT will enhance manufacturing processes, predictive maintenance, supply chain management, etc., etc. Another idea I'm putting out there is around renewable energy and sustainability, and I've said this earlier, as we aim for a sustainable future, the use of renewable sources of energy, such as solar, wind, geothermal, etc., will be critical to ensuring we really attain growth with sustainability and inclusivity. Another idea, the fifth idea I'm throwing out, is around biotechnology and healthcare innovation. We really need to revolutionize healthcare provision, and biotechnology will do exactly that. Not only in healthcare, we'll also do in agriculture and in environmental conservation. We are now discussing in the technology space things like gene editing technologies called the cluster regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, or in simple terms, it's called just CRISPR gene editing technology that will enable precision medicine, you to be provided with medicine that is exactly responding to your gene, and of course disease prevention. So biopharmaceuticals and regenerative medicine will offer new treatment for chronic diseases and enhance healthcare outcomes. In agriculture, biotech solutions will improve crop resilience, will improve nutritional value, will improve sustainability, and ensure food security. The last idea I'm throwing out there is around quantum computing. Although the concept of quantum computing is still in its nascent stage, but it really holds a transformative potential. It will resolve complex problems beyond the reach of classical computers that we know of, impacting fields such as material science, and drug discovery. There, we need to invest more, and I'm looking at Dr. Nungu, into research and development to stay ahead of this cutting-edge field of science and explore practical applications that can drive economic growth. Now, as I move towards the end, let's talk about how do we navigate this journey, the speed date with the future. What are the type of strategic initiatives and collaborations that we need to put in place? Because for us to really achieve that vision of 2050, we require these strategic initiatives and collaboration at various levels. Here are some of the examples, some of actions that I'm putting forward that I think we must take to really achieve or move towards the achievement of that Vision 2050. One, PPPs, public-private partnership. We need to enhance and strengthen collaboration between government and private sector to ensure we drive innovation and infrastructure development in that area. We need to leverage private sector expertise and implement, or resource mobilization to implement large-scale projects efficiently. So initiatives such as tech parks, innovation hubs, etc., are things that they need to be encouraged, and I'm happy to see that quite a number of those are coming. Number two, so first is PPP, number two is international cooperation. We cannot go there alone. Somebody was saying, I think it was Sierra and Austin, that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. We really need to enhance international cooperation, engaging with international partners and organizations worldwide to provide access to such advanced technologies, knowledge sharing, and funding opportunities. So we should actively participate in global research initiatives, technology exchanges, and things of that sort. Number three, R&D. I've said it already, that we need to invest a lot more in R&D and through institutions such as COSTECH and similar institutions. I think a lot is already done, but we need to do more to really fast track our pace towards 2050. Number four, digital literacy and inclusion. Digital literacy should be a must. Just like when you are saying 3 R's, Professor Nombo, reading, writing, and arithmetics, now it should also, there has to be another R that means digital literacy. It has to be a must for everybody, such that the generation we have by 2050, digital literacy should be given, and we should also remove any digital divide, especially between rural and urban areas, because of course of the investment that is already happening in ensuring that digital infrastructure is available anywhere, everywhere. Regulatory sandboxes to ensure that we implement those we allow to for controlled testing of innovative technologies and business models. Last, I think it's funding and investment. We have to put more funding, and I'm happy to hear that institutions or organizations that are sitting around here are using programs like Ufunguo to put in more resources, and I think we need to enhance that collaboration and to ensure more funding is available. Role of leadership and role of governance. I want to emphasize on that. Everything that I've said will not be possible if there is no role, active and effective role of leadership and governance, because we need leadership to help steer the direction towards the vision 2050 and the vision that we want, especially as far as technology is concerned. So one, we need visionary leadership. What's the terminology they are calling you, Balozi Mpungwe, in this program? Joseph, you're calling him? There's a good name. We need the most of Mpungwe's futurist sage. So we need that visionary leadership for people who provide vision. You know, unfortunately, and I'm not saying this in a bad way for you and me, those who have the best vision, they never get to see the realization of those visions. So we need to have a lot of us with probably gray hairs to provide that vision of what is the ideal country we want to see by the year 2050, 2075, even if we might not be there. So strong visionary leadership is essential for driving innovation. Leaders must be able to articulate a very clear vision, inspire stakeholders, and mobilize resources toward common goals. When you go to a country called Jordan, there's a place you're told, this is where Moses stood and told his people, there is the promised land. I will not be able to get there. And this is what also Martin Luther King told his people in 1963. No, 1968, the night before he was killed, that I've seen the promised land. We as people get there, I might not be able to get there with you. So we have to have that articulative leadership that says what is the promised land as far as technology and how we use technology to leapfrog to the future that we want. So that's number one. Number two, inclusive governance. Governance that is inclusive, ensuring that all voices are heard, and especially for me, as far as technology is concerned, you really need to hear to the most critical and the crazy sounding ideas, because change is not provided by people who think like everyone else. Third, policy coherence and coordination. Policy coherence and coordination across government ministries and agencies are crucial, but also a holistic approach will ensure that policies are aligned and resources are optimized. Resilience and adaptability, that I think I've touched upon. So as I conclude my speed date with the future, these are my ideas of what I think the future could and should look like. It is clear that our innovation journey as a country towards 2050 is ambitious but achievable. So by embracing a forwardly thinking vision, implementing robust policies, and leveraging technological advancement, we can transform our nation into a global leader in innovation. The journey will require collective effort of all stakeholders, government, private sector, academia, civil society. Together we can build a prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable Tanzania, where technological advancements improve the lives of all citizens and drive economic growth. The future is not a distant dream, but a reality we are shaping today. So as we are navigating through this journey, let us remain committed to our values. Let us embrace change with optimism. Let us work tirelessly towards our shared vision. Let us embark on this journey with determination. Let us embark on this journey with creativity. Let us embark on this journey collaboratively. All of us together, government, private sector, academia, civil society, development partners, men, women, young and old, urban and rural, to ensure that Tanzania thrives in the digital age and beyond. I thank you for your attention.
Balozi Ulanga, you're a little bit taller than me, so I'll just move this down. Thank you so much, Balozi Ulanga. Tanzania's job market grapples with an annual influx of nearly 1 million young Tanzanians, yet it provides approximately only 340,000 fresh job openings each year. This enduring discrepancy has fueled persistent issues of unemployment, underemployment, and the widening socioeconomic disparities that have deepened over time. It's also worth noting that when a significant portion of these young men and women face an additional hurdle, a lack of even the most basic digital skills required in the 21st century job market. We've heard this morning how innovation has the potential to drive human development, economic growth, and jobs for young people. Balozi Ulanga talked about unprecedented possibilities and the need for people who think differently, who walk differently, and who act differently. We heard your challenge, Balozi Ulanga. Our panelists today have rolled their sleeves up and tackled the challenges of tomorrow head on with the work that they are doing. Ms. Karen Ndosi co-founder and executive director of the Launchpad Tanzania, please come and pick a chair. We can do better than that, ladies and gentlemen. I do know for a fact that there are several women in this room that have been in Carol's program, so let's make some noise for Carol. Paul Mpokwa, project manager, innovative finance, digital opportunity trust. Round of applause. Just a quick show of hands. If you have been impacted by any of the programs, had Women at Web, Shule Direct, or Tanzania, can you raise your hand? No way. Put your hand up higher. Balozi John has his hand up. Anybody else? If you have been impacted by any of these programs, raise your hand up higher. Okay, we have some supporters in the room. So I think we'll start with Paul. Are you ready? Okay.
Always.
This is a very gender balanced panel, actually. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. We're readdressing the status quo. Paul, can you tell us about who you are and what you do at DOT?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Paul. My role at DOT is project manager for innovative financing. So what I do is I work with young people to co-design, test, and implement new or improved methods of raising and allocating financing for young entrepreneurs. So innovative financing is a really new space, and I hope that in time today we can find time to talk about it a little bit more. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Carol.
Thank you. A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Hi, this energy. Good morning. Much better. My name is Carol Ndosi. I'm the co-founder of the Launchpad Tanzania, but I'm also wearing the hat of the Chief of Party of the Tanzania Women and Technology Platform. It's always a pleasure to be here. Our main focus area for the work that I do is basically youth and women, but in the areas of digital inclusion, inclusive economies, as well as skills development. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Iku.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Iku Mwanjisi Lazaro. I'm a co-founder of Shule Direct, and I believe Tanzania's first women-only hub, incubator called Ndoto Hub. I'm also currently co-CEO of Shule Direct. I'm excited to be here, and honestly, I think it's nostalgic, it's emotional to be at this 10th Innovation Week, because we really started Shule Direct around the first Innovation Week. Yeah, so super excited for this 10th Innovation Week as well.
In that case, Iku, let me ask you, since you've said you've been around since the first Innovation Week, Shule Direct just celebrated 10 years, right? 10 years and over 3 million learners in secondary schools. Can we give them a round of applause? That is not an easy feat, so well done. Could you share, and John talked about this earlier, right? The need for digital skills, the need for upskilling. Could you share kind of the most pertinent learning that you have learned as Shula Direct in growing skill? What do we need if we really want to think about scale?
That's a tall question. It's a very loaded question. So from our experience, we did start in 2013. And I think when we were starting, actually, the internet penetration rate in the country was about 11%. So perhaps a lot of people used to think we were crazy, thinking about starting an online platform for kids to learn and kids from public schools. But I think what we need to be understanding, what we need to see as well, the opportunity of technology, is it's so fast that it can actually create the opportunities that we don't think about overnight. So when we were starting out, we were really just looking at how can we create a platform that can create access to qualified learning resources that are contextual to the Tanzanian learner. And we didn't think that in 1 year we could have 1 million users. We didn't think that, but that's what happened. And so we started growing, even understanding that we need bigger servers. And 2020 we crashed, I think, 2 times during COVID when schools were out. We had an overload, and even then we thought we had very, very big servers that could accommodate a lot of users at a time, but it happened. We crashed 2 times, and we learned from that. But I think we can't really say the opportunities or what we can learn from technology unless we're doing it. That's how we're learning. So for anyone who's thinking about how am I going to be in this digital space, you'd rather just start. And you will learn along the way. We've learned quite a lot. But I think one of the things that we also didn't anticipate when we were starting Shula Direct, we were looking at the challenges that were faced by a student in a school, that will go to a school that doesn't have enough resources, that doesn't have all the teachers that they're supposed to be having. And mind you, in the secondary space, we're coming from primary, we're learning in Swahili, and now you're going into secondary, you're learning new complex concepts in a foreign language. So there were so many challenges, and we're just looking at these kids who would be, if you go to a really good school, somebody would ask you for your textbook, your class notebook, and not necessarily a textbook. So we're just trying to see how can we digitize content and make sure that everybody has access to the same quality content. But as soon as we launched, we had a lot of teachers signing up as well. So we hadn't anticipated that the challenge that a student is facing, a teacher is also facing. So we had to quickly learn, iterate, make sure that we can accommodate teachers on the platform. So we built a whole digital teachers resource center on the same platform that teachers are also able to access. And currently we have about 60,000 teachers who are registered on that platform. So there's so many factors that we can take from that. But something else that I think is profound for me personally, in 2016, we did launch an SMS-based learning platform, and it was actually during Innovation Week at Azania Secondary School. And we had it from 2 students. So we had given the platform to kids, and we're like, look at it, and then we wanted them to sort of demonstrate that to guests. So one of the students who were there in 2016 actually came to work at Shula Direct in 2021 as a software developer. And his story was, from that day, he was really, imagine it was just an SMS platform, but think about, just imagine what it did for him and the kind of, expansion it did for his mind to look at the opportunities around technology. And he's actually currently doing a master's in software engineering in Kigali.
Amazing. Congratulations. I just want to touch on something that you talked about, the SMS platform. And really quickly, in terms of 10 years, where do you see the value of partnerships? How do you leverage partnerships? And have you been able to leverage partnerships with any of our partners that are here today for Innovation Week and just in general? So a couple of seconds, because I see Carol also wants to respond. So how do you leverage partnerships, Iku? And what's the value for everyone sitting here to reach out to our innovators this whole week?
So that would circle back to something that you and Austin were saying this morning. If you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Honestly, we couldn't have it been where we are if it wasn't for partnerships. So yes, we had the partnership of the predecessor of Funguo, that was the Human Development Innovation Fund. We've worked with the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. They've really been supporting us, especially through the Tanzania Institute of Education. And Professor Caroline Nombo, I'm honored that she's here today to officiate this day. She's also a fan, and actually we've had many interactions talking about and the support for Shule Direct. Dr. Nungu as well, we've had support from COSTEC, even financial support. Yes, we do work with Caro, we do work with DOT, so the many of you here, but also we had Tigo in 2016. They were the first mobile network operator to agree to have the SMS platform on their network. So when we launched Makini SMS initially, it was with Tigo. But then we've also had partnerships with Vodacom, who zero-rated our platform, and especially 2020 during COVID. So enabling a lot more kids to be able to access the platform. Yeah, I think there's so many faces, very many familiar faces in the room that in one way or another we're working together, but yes, the only way you can do this is through collaboration.
Thank you, Iku. So Carol, Iku raised something about upskilling and digital upskilling, right? And the importance of kind of, we're going from brick and mortar, paper and pencil essentially, or chaki even, to, now we're talking about getting onto a mobile platform. What role do you see startups and small enterprises playing in driving innovation in Tanzania, and how do you feel they should be supported through your work with Launchpad, Women in Technology, Women at Web, where you're really you're working with thousands of women that are setting up businesses across the country?
Without repeating what Balozi Ulanga said, because I really, whatever that he spoke about really resonated with us and the work that we do. I think, first of all, they play a very key role, because if you look at Tanzania right now and where we're at and where we want to be, you look at the Tanzania Development Vision and the 3 objectives that we had in there, and the second one actually being a competitive economy. And then when you look at the National Development Vision, where we want to become 2050, I feel that it is only through innovation that will actually cut across. I don't hear the conversation very much around the 6 priority sectors that we had identified initially in the National Development Vision, but it's still very much loud, across different conversations and different ecosystems. We definitely need or can see innovation and startups and businesses play a major important role in revolutionizing these sectors. I'm very passionate about agriculture. I'm a farmer, so definitely that's one thing that I'll start with. But it's also because it's a sector that offers the bulk opportunities when it comes to entrepreneurship and even, employment. You look at the sector of education and the work that Shule Direct and the rest of the ecosystem is doing, That's how you push for a competitive economy. You look at other startups, for example, I love what Kononi is doing, absolutely revolutionizing the medical health sector right now. And even some of the startups that are supported by Funguo, Sharia Kiganjani is also one of my favorite, But also when you look at, for example, how we can use how startups and businesses can push for financial inclusion. USADF through the PESATech incubator is doing amazing work as well. So all those are avenues that could actually be used by startups, and businesses. However, we have a gap that we need to fill in terms of that linkage and that support that we need to give for these startups to transition from an idea to a prototype to the go-to market. And there I will go to the second part of the question, which is how better can we support them? Access to finance, guys. Like, there's no other formula. I mean, yes, we can talk about capacity building, we can talk about skills development, we can talk about incubation initiatives, but if we're not addressing access to finance, if we're not addressing access to markets, we're not going to get anywhere, because this is what they need. We run a SheTech incubator, and right now we're stuck because as an organization, there's only so much that we can do in terms of supporting them, So again, we revisit that conversation about a pipeline of support that we can provide through the same ecosystem that we have, because we do have significant a significant number of players offering different kinds of support across, the pipeline that they get in. So from entry point, if a startup or a business wants to start a business, where do they go for support? Just to get the idea from an idea to a prototype. Is there a place that they can go to in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam or wherever? If you want from the prototype to go to a go-to-market strategy and go to the market, who do you go to support you with that, We have the likes of the Stanbic Incubator. They're doing amazing work, and there's something that Kai, who should have been on this panel, sent me to specifically say, so I will reserve that for later. But again, it all goes back to access to markets, access to finance. And of course, the last bit that he mentioned, Balozi Ulanga, the regulatory environment. I would love for the Startup Act to hopefully address the big issue around, the TRAs and the BRELAs and the OSHAs, which are really, big limitations for the startups trying to start a business right now, because they have to think about all these funds that they have to come up with before they even, make their first transaction. Yes. So hopefully we will get there, and hopefully after these conversations, we will arrive at a consensus on how best to support them.
Thank you, Carol. So Carol raised something really interesting, which is around, and it's been said this morning, kind of the policy environment, what do we need? The great thing is you're in the right place, because this entire week we have sessions centered around that. What does this environment look like? What is a thriving, enabling environment for us? So just really quickly, Wednesday afternoon there's a session where we're talking about this. Friday morning we're talking about this. And I do believe tomorrow morning as well we're talking about this. So interestingly enough, Fungo has curated for you an entire week of talking just about this. So thank you, Carol. And I hope that when we get to the end of the week, we will have some of those answers that we're looking for, and we will have made concrete steps towards achieving this. So, Paul, when Carol was talking, I saw like this huge smile on your face, because you're thinking, Carol, come to me, I got ideas for you for financing. Paul, with the work you're doing with DOT, and when we think about the work DOT is doing, right? DOT is national now. Over 30,000 youth, I believe, have been impacted by the programming. What kind of innovative financing solutions do we need to embrace from your experience if we want to really think about the growth of startup and SMEs, if we really want to leverage and boost our economic competitiveness? What are you seeing with the work you're doing at DOT?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, we work with young people because this is a really interesting demographic, and let me share some data around that. Half of our population is young people under the age of 18 years old. Can you imagine that? That makes us one of the youngest populations in the entire world. And if you go up a little further, those who are aged between 18 and 35, they make up about 70% of our population. So these are the people who are building the most, but also these are the people that consume the most. So there's no way around it. We've got to work with young people to build competitive economies. But you shared another statistic. You said 1 million young people get into the job market every year. Only about 300,000, get into the formal sector. So where do the rest of them go? The rest of them get into the informal sector. Now, we've got strength in numbers, but do we have quality as well? Because only a combination of strength in numbers and quality will help us build competitive economies. These young people who are in the informal sectors, most of them are micro traders, so they're building small businesses. Access to financing is absolutely key, and this is a conversation that comes up every single time. I have two mechanisms that I want to share with you today to enhance this youth in the informal sector. A lot of conversation has been around cash. How do we get cash into the hands of entrepreneurs? But can we refocus the conversation from just cash to cash and resources? Which is why one of my favorite innovative financing mechanisms is asset financing. Because you talk to an entrepreneur, they tell you that I need cash to buy a motorbike so that I can make deliveries faster. Bottom line is that you need a motorbike. So how do we finance that asset? And how do we bring on stakeholders within the ecosystem that will realize that, okay, maybe I cannot give you cash because there's no mechanism to recover it, or I have no credit, your credit score, but can I alternatively give you the asset that you need, and you will pay through the business that you're running over time, 2 to 3 years. And we have organizations and private companies that are already engaging in asset financing. What I'm hoping to see is that over time, this continues to grow, and the awareness also of the youth who are in the informal sector is up there in terms of where they can access such mechanisms for asset financing. And by no means, I'm not saying that cash is not important. Cash is equally important, but we just got to get innovative a little bit to start thinking of resources and assets as well, financing for that. Another mechanisms that I want to bring up is around the fact that we don't need to bring on new things all the time. We need to do what we've always done, but really, really well. For instance, we've got existing infrastructures, local infrastructures, lending groups, women groups, SACCOs, VCOBAs, right? How do we work with such structures to enhance what they're doing? First, in terms of digitization, and this is where fintechs and the young people also come in. We've got revolving funds implemented by the government, and I think one of the consensus is that local government authorities were prescribed to set aside 10% of internally generated revenue to give back to the small businesses, right? So this is good, but how do we increase effectiveness of what they're doing? Do we collect data around it? Do we know who is accessing these funds, for what reasons? How do we come back to iterate and build forward? So we want to encourage public-private partnerships. We want to bring in fintechs. We want to bring in people who are building platforms so that they collaborate with governments to collect better data, build predictive analytics, so that we have impact at scale. So one, again to summarize, we want to look at the conversation beyond just cash, to have cash and resources, but two, how do we leverage existing infrastructures, local infrastructures, how do we bring on cutting-edge technologies to enhance those structures? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. That's really interesting. And a different way to look at things, right? A different lens. And this is what Balozi John also mentioned, that we need to look at things differently if we really want to get to 2050. I will take one question from the floor. And if it's a good one, I might take two. So one question from the floor. Can we get the gentleman up there a mic, please? Stand up, sir. Don't be shy. They don't bite. Please tell us your name, what you do, and please ask your question.
Thank you, guest of honor and all the delegates. My name is Mike Kasungu. I'm the manager for project support for IoT and digital platforms from Vodacom. I had a question for Mr. Mpokwa. You mentioned a lot of key innovations in terms of asset financing and giving young people structure on how to actually develop their ideas. But what are we doing to make sure this age group, which is between 18 and 15 and 35, are getting this information? Are we telling these kids this in secondary school so that when they are growing and they are looking at life to see what they want to do they know that these avenues and these opportunities are there? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I saw Carol nodding your head, so I don't know if you want to also really quickly respond after Paul?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was first introducing myself, I said I work with young people to co-design, test, and implement innovative financing mechanisms. So the key word there is co-design. There's a risk for a lot of venture builders and policymakers and regulators and program builders to build programs that make sense for themselves. But how do we bring into the room those that we are building for? So one of our key approaches, and this has worked really well in the past and will continue to work in the future, is we've always brought into the room the people that we are building for. So we bring on the youth, we bring on entrepreneurs, and we co-design. We ask them what makes sense for you in terms of building this program. We ask them, where are you? Can we reach you where you are instead of you coming to us all the time? What do you do? How do you do it? We want to understand and have that 360 understanding of who our user is. Only then we can make and build programs that are relevant and impactful as well. So I would say co-design, not to add another point and take away from Carol. So.
Thank you, Paul. I think I would shamelessly plug Costech here. Makisato is one of the, I think, in my opinion, one of the most relevant examples that you can have when it comes to exposing young people in primary and secondary schools to innovation, but all these possibilities that come with technology. I think that also the new curriculum offers us a lot of hope and optimism, because they do have, they have captured innovation and computer and ICT. So that's something definitely to look forward to in the next couple of years. We're also trying to, and I'm glad that Professor Nombo is here, she has our letter that we're supposed to get back, but we're also trying to establish digital skills clubs in secondary schools to address the same issue, because we feel that we still need more. I mean, you have the farmer clubs who are doing amazing work, you have Schule Direct, but again, outreach is still one of the major challenges that we have. So you cannot have enough players in, in the space doing enough. So as much as we can, again, co-designing, as Paul said, but we need to go to where the people are. Beyond these conversations in JNICC, really get out there where the local communities are, and then design programs that really are tailor-made to them, because one size does not fit all. That's what we're discovering with the Launchpad every day. The programs that we have targeting, Dar es Salaam youth are definitely different from the youth in Tandahimba or in Rukwa. So again, co-designing is very important, but again, let's leverage on, what the government and the ministry already has in place and see how we can further support that.
So I hope that answers your question. Leveraging partnerships is one, but also co-designing, human-centered design. If you haven't heard of it, there are some people in the room that you should talk to about this. You should talk to the Launchpad, talk to Paul from DOT, anybody from DOT, talk to ECO, talk to anyone from UNICEF. UNICEF designed all their programming with the HCD approach. If you see anyone from Zanzibar here, there's a lot of hubs in Zanzibar, in Iringa as well, that are using the human-centered design approach. When you think about how do we think about human-centered design, and maybe again, how could we leverage partnerships with MNOs? Yeah. UNICEF, for example, has a program called U-Report, where they gather input on specific ideas and what's contextual, like what's happening in the world. How do young people feel about unemployment? How do young people feel about technology, right? They send an SMS and they're gathering data, and then they're building programming and they're looking at interventions. So maybe this is an opportunity for MNOs like yourself to think of how can those of us in this room be a partner and leverage that space, right? So that we're really designing and putting people at the center of what we're doing. And when we think about technology, we think about people first, right? Then ideas, and then technology as an enabler that links it all together. I will, in the interest of inclusion, I will take a question from somebody else. And inclusion is a very wide word for us, so in the UN family. So anyone else who would like to ask a question? Okay, no questions? There is? Right. Can we get a mic to the back row?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. My name is Aaron Kazungu from KSEC Group. My question comes like a question, but might look like a statement. It comes right to the panelists. We may be addressing a lot on innovation for competitive advantage, but the problem here is not about the innovation. The problem here is about the tariff which are found by the government. Have you ever think of supporting the policies of having grace period to these young innovators? Young innovators to be given grace period for tariff elimination for taxes at least for 1 month to see if my idea is productive. Imagine I may design a car, I'm not sure that if it will work. I'm just in a prototype, immediate tail lights at the door knocking for taxes, really, and we are supporting innovation. So I'm addressing on grace period. Have you ever think of that kind of stuff, or what's your plan towards supporting innovation for young people inside the room? Thank you.
So, what's your name again?
Alan Kazungu.
Alan, I love your suggestion, but here's the thing. I don't think 1 month is enough. I think if we're really serious...
1 year.
1 year. Thank you for saying 12 months at a minimum. That's what we'd like to see. Professor Nungu, I'm just saying, we'd like to see 12 months minimum. Can we give our panelists a huge round of applause, please? Iku, Carol, and Paul.
You forgot that Kai sent me to say something.
Oh, sorry. So Kai Malal, who heads up the Stanbic Biashara Incubator, has sent a message. So Carol, would you like to share the message?
So she says the Stanbic Incubator has been able to assist the incubatees to get more than $7.3 million in terms of tender value, and that's on enabling innovation for a competitive economy. The secret sauce, she says, is access to market. In Swahili, hakuna biashara inafanya kazi bila kuwa na mzunguko. Business Basics 101. Wakitaka kuwezesha innovation, watengeneze masoko kwa ajili yake.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Kai. So what have we heard this morning from our panelists? Partnerships make sense. They need to be diverse, and they need to be intentional. If you grab Iku during the coffee break, she'll tell you that it has to be an equal partnership. Both parties need to benefit. That's one. The second thing we've learned is that if we're going to design any program or solution, we need to put people at the center of this. We need to think about who we're designing for, and we need to remember that Tanzania is big. We are 60+ million, and we do not all reside in Dar es Salaam. So rethink your boundaries and your borders. There's an incredibly huge market available for us. We need to think inclusively about people. Who are we designing for? People that are differently able use technologies and products differently. Women use technologies and products differently to men. We need to focus and think about who we're building for. We need to think about finance and what does this look like? We have an opportunity to redefine finance, as Paul said, to rethink about what it looks like and how we offer it and what are the parameters. And it's the right space for it. We are the home of mobile money, are we not? We have been able to leapfrog technology in so many ways in the fintech sector. And this week, on Wednesday, we have a discussion around the fintech sector, so make sure you check the program for that. At the end of the day, I think what's really come through is the value of collaboration. Collaboration has brought us to this point today, and collaboration will take us further. To paraphrase Balozi Ulanga, our innovation journey as a country is ambitious but achievable. And we hope our panelists and the innovators who are exhibiting here today for the week have inspired you to pick up some virtual bricks for this very exciting road towards a very competitive and thriving economy. Once again, please, a round of applause for our panelists. And I'd like to call Austin Makani, my co-host, who seems to have disappeared on me, back to the stage. Can you please tell him he's needed? Was that a good session? I need to hear that it was good, which means I need to hear a round of applause. Balozi Ulanga, you threw down a gauntlet. You said it has to be unprecedented. We have to be thinking differently. Did we achieve that this morning? Did we find people that are thinking differently? That's what we like to hear. It is now my incredibly esteemed pleasure. You're too late. I get to invite the sage. I'm sorry. You are too late. I get to invite the futurist sage. Please put your hands together for Ambassador Amin Pungo.
Permanent Secretary and all distinguished invited leaders and guests. I think it is a tall order for me to be invited to reflect on what has just been discussed. And I'm sure you'll appreciate at my age, I'm not that agile. So I'm glad there's no politician here. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to be very innovative. I'm going to think in public, like what the politicians do. You know, I'll be speaking as I'll be thinking as I speak. Well, certainly, we are living in a very unforgiving era. It's an era, an age of great transformations. It began about 4 decades ago with the fall of Berlin Wall, when the world had been divided between East and West. And then end of Cold War and significant developments in science and technology transformed the world. Unfortunately, most of you didn't know that, but some of us, it was a different world. Now it's a completely brand new world. A world that is characterized by so many forces. The universal values of democracy, of human rights, of rule of law, of good governance. And you see how the world is confused now with the geopolitics, and you don't know which is the right political philosophy, which is the correct interpretation of human rights, of rule of law, and all these things. There's a lot of confusion in the world today. But also, we see a lot of developments in terms of coordination and integration of global production, distribution, and exchange processes on the basis of economies of scale and economies of scope. You can no longer behave alone as an economy, that this is Tanzania, this is Kenya, or what. The world economy is getting deeply integrated. The production, distribution, and exchange processes are integrated. Then you also have the liberalization process. The national boundaries are collapsing, being transformed into markets. It's no longer a question of this is Tanzanian market. It's a broader market, either it's African Common Market or SADC market or African market, and that's where the world is moving. You cannot limit yourself to your national market, and you become uncompetitive, as the main theme of this discussion is. Then we also have, for sustainability, and we've heard it several times here, renewed concern and care for the environment. Whatever we do in our economic, social activities, we have to take care of the environment for sustainability, and it's part of the global dynamics. And then we have developments, and especially for your generation, of information and communication technologies that have rendered time, distance, and spaces completely irrelevant in the competitive global environment. And And as if that is not enough, now we have the fourth industrial revolution, you know, which means that, and we are talking about innovations, it's clearly every human or social activity that has data is a candidate for disruption. Any activity that has data is a candidate for disruption, but also it's a candidate for exponential growth. And this is where this gathering today, this conversation today, is quite relevant, because we are living in a country that is extremely favored, privileged, chosen by God. You know, we always pride ourselves of having a wonderful history of absolute peace and stability since independence. Nobody else in the region, nobody else, very few countries in the world. Absolute peace and stability since independence, and therefore all the space for other activities. We have a very exciting geography. You know, even in terms, if you talk about the East African Community or SADC, yeah, if you talk about this African Common Market, we are the only country which truly a common market for East Africa. You know, we share borders with all the member states except Sudan and South Sudan, and then in addition to that we have SADC. So huge opportunity for market. And then we have the very exciting geology. You know, the mining sector has got a huge potential. Then we have biodiversity, we have livestock and all this. Yet, we are still facing these problems of underdevelopment. Yes, we are now middle income, but compared to the potential that this country has, we haven't done enough. We have much more than what we have achieved so far. And therefore this poses a challenge for us as we reflect or plan for the next 25 years, as Ambassador Olanga reflected upon. And in that regard, especially when we are living in this era of fourth industrial revolution, algorithms, Internet of Things, virtual realities, and so many innovative technologies are around there. We'll spend the whole day reflecting on them. These offer opportunities for us in the next 25 years to instill exponential growth. And this is for us to be able to deal with the unsustainable poverty levels that we experience as a nation at the moment. There's no alternative to exponential growth. If indeed we have to dent the poverty levels that characterize our country today. So, simple. The technologies are there. And therefore, especially for the generation which is dominant here, we need to change the narrative of our discussion and be very futuristic. Given the disruptive technologies that exist, then our conversation should also be a disruptive conversation. We should talk about the future of this economy in the context of fourth industrial revolution. And then unpack various sectors. The future of education. in the light of these disruptive technologies, the fourth industrial revolution that is at play, what would the education system look like, or should look like, to produce the workforce that would foster innovation and enhance productivity? What is the future of agriculture? You've been introducing me as chairman of Kilombero, and I was whispering to Ambassador Langa, yeah, you have picked up a very old-fashioned industry that is maybe being consistent with disruptions. But I was telling Ambassador Langa, even with agriculture at Kilombero, we are innovating. We are introducing vertical agriculture, which within the space we have 10,000 hectares. We want to double production within the 10,000 hectares that we have. And we would be able with vertical agriculture, and the technologies are there. So we should be discussing, have a futuristic conversation, future of agriculture. What would agriculture look like, or should look like, in the context of the disruptive technologies that exist today? We should be talking about future of forestry. I was looking at, reading a newspaper yesterday, and I think there was a picture of a group of few people who were planting mangrove trees in Tanga on the beach to reclaim the beach. A whole bunch of, trying, I think the whole day, at most they must have done half an acre or quarter of an acre. But there's a drone technology which could have done the work of those 20 people plus. For the whole day, it could have done it in 1 hour. Yes, there's a, if you want to talk about deforestation, reforestation, through drone technology, it is proven there. You can have your digital mapping, you can plot where you want to plant, you can plant 100,000 trees in a day by one drone. If you have 10 drones, you can plant 1 million trees in a day. And those technologies are there, and you can resolve your deforestation problems. In the industrial production, let's also have a futuristic conversation. How would the industry of the future look like? Certainly issues of robots and robotics will come into play. And how do we instill innovation in that activity, industrialization in industries of the future? And so on and so forth. So I think it is important that we are having this kind of conversation. And as Ambassador Langa suggested, to stimulate this, you need a lot of innovations in policy. There must be some policy changes that are in line with the challenges and opportunities that are being brought about by the fourth industrial revolution or digital transformation. There must be some legal framework that encourages the innovative ideas and disruptive ideas that are at play. You must have a regulatory environment that encourages the growth of these innovative ideas and disruptive initiatives. You have to have a fiscal environment that also encourages. We must move away from looking at taxation as a mere exercise of revenue collection. Taxation should be an intervention for growth. For young innovators, if you give them 5 years or 10 years, let them grow and then tax them later. And you may make much more money later than kill them at the beginning. So these are all the conversations that we should be having. And I think the government has got a primary responsibility to drive this change and transformation. So that's all I can say as a way of reflecting to what had been discussed. And I thank you very much for the opportunity of giving it. Thank you.
Now, of a big round of applause to Ambassador Ami Mpungwe. I had a personal experience of doing an interview with him, one-on-one with him, at the Uongozi Resource Center on the 3rd floor. And when we were done with the interview, he picked up a book from a shelf called The Industries of the Future by Alec Cross. It's probably the best book I've ever read. I read books, but this is probably the best book I've ever read. So totally, I mean, as you're talking about how the future looks and how we should anticipate and how we should prepare for it, this is what this book speaks about. You know, from what existed then, what is currently existing, and what is there yet for us to see. John Ulanga, balozi wakati ameanza kuongea, he took reference of what used to happen in the past. Kwa wale ambao wanakumbuka, past yangu kidogo, mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, tulikuwa tunaenda benki na vitabu. Ukideposit unaandikiwa, ukiwithdraw inaandikwa kwenye kitabu. Nakumbuka benki yangu ya kwanza nilifungua 77 Postal Bank. I've maintained that account, so I'm totally delighted. Catherine Rose, so you know why I was missing, so I could at least have the privilege ya kumwalika mgeni wetu rasmi ili aweze kuongea na innovators, young and great minds present in the room. Lakini bila kusahau kuna watu wengi sana ambao wanatufuatilia online with us, virtually present. Kwa hiyo ninayo heshima kubwa sasa kukukaribisha Profesa katibu wetu mkuu ili uje kuongea na Watanzania kupitia hadhara hii. As she comes, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause. Moja ya vitu nimejifunza kwake earlier on today,
Habari ya asubuhi. Is it good afternoon or good morning? I think it's still good morning. Habari ya asubuhi. Aha. Kumbe nimeona wanaokuja hapa mbele hawapati nguvu kutoka kwenu. Habari ya asubuhi tena. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Asante sana. Ambassador John Ulanga, Director of International Trade and Economic Diplomacy, Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation. Napenda pia nitambue uwepo wa balozi mstaafu, Balozi Ami Mpungwe. Thank you, both of you, for your reflections. Thank you for showing us where our country needs to be. And here we are. We have the partners and we have the innovators and entrepreneurs who can take our country to where it needs to be. So thank you so much for your reflections. Dr. Amos Nungu, Director General, Tanzania Commission for Science and Technology. Ms. Catherine Gifford, Deputy Country Representative, UN Women Tanzania. Mr. Sergio, Deputy Resident Representative, UNDP. I'm also glad to recognize the presence of Dr. Daniel Baheta, my brother, representing UNICEF. I also recognize the presence of other UN agencies present here today. I also am very happy to recognize the presence ya mama na dada yetu Mary Von Paul, Honorary Consul, Republic of Seychelles. Yeye ni balozi wa Seychelles Tanzania, lakini ni Mtanzania. So we are happy to have you here today. distinguished guests, moderators, thank you so much for taking us through these sessions. Panelists, I can't see any of them around here. Carol is gone. Paul, where are you? Oh, you're still there. Thank you so much. And Shule Direct? Yeah. Thank you so much for your reflections as well. Innovators, wabunifu na wavumbuzi mlioko hapa leo, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, habari ya asubuhi tena. It's a great honor and pleasure for me to be here today at the opening ceremony of the Innovation Week Tanzania 2024, leading to a National Week of Education, Skills and Innovation, which will take place next week in Tanga from 25th to 31st May 2024. This significant event marks the 10th episode of the remarkable journey that showcases the power of innovation technology in transforming our nation. As we gather here today at Julius Nyerere International Convention Center, we are united by a common vision, leveraging innovation for a competitive economy. And our motto for this Innovation Week inasema wiki ya ubunifu Tanzania 2024. Ubunifu kwa uchumi shindani, sio wa. It is kwa uchumi shindani. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme, Innovation for a Competitive Economy, expresses our collective aspiration to harness the potential of innovation in driving economic growth and development. As we move towards a digital and knowledge-based economy, it is imperative that we embrace and advocate innovative solutions that addresses the challenges we face and seize the opportunities that lie ahead. Innovation Week Tanzania 2024 is not just an event, but a platform for action and collaboration organized by the Commission of Science and Technology, COSTECH, and the UNDP through its Ufunguo Innovation Program in partnership with various stakeholders. This week promises to be a catalyst for transformative change. I would like to thank and applaud all great partners who have participated in making this week a reality, and these partners include European Union. We had their representative here, but they have left for other commitments. The British High Commission, Enabel, UNICEF, Vodacom, and many others for their continued and tremendous support they continue to give to our ministry and its institutions. The thematic focus area for this year, 2024, are innovation for digital transformation, innovation for green economy, innovation for financial inclusion, innovation for inclusive human capital development, as well as innovation for blue economy and tourism. All these areas reflect our commitment to addressing critical sectors that will shape the future of our nation. I believe you'll be part of all these discussions over the coming days and dig deeper into these key issues. Ladies and gentlemen, firstly, digital transformation is pivotal in today's fast-paced world. By embracing digital technologies, we can enhance efficiency and create new business opportunities and provide service delivery across all sectors. Secondly, innovation for a green economy is crucial for sustainable development. We must find innovative ways to balance economic growth with environmental stewardship, ensuring that all our natural resources are preserved for future generations. Thirdly, financial inclusion is essential for equitable economic growth. By fostering innovations in financial services, we can provide access to financial resources to all Tanzanians, particularly the underserved and the marginalized communities. Fourthly, inclusive human capital development is the cornerstone of a prosperous economy. Investing in health, education, and skills development ensures that our workforce is equipped to meet the demands of the modern economy. Lastly, but not least, innovations for blue economy and tourism offers immense potential for economic diversification. Our rich marine and water resources and vibrant tourism sector can be leveraged through innovative approaches to create sustainable livelihoods and boost economic growth. Dear ladies and gentlemen present here, as we embark on this exciting week filled with exhibitions, workshops, conferences, policy dialogues, let us remember that innovation is not just about technology, but is about new ways of thinking and problem solving. It requires collaboration, creativity, and continuous commitment for improvement. I'm confident that this Innovation Week 2024 will inspire us to challenge the status quo and work together towards a more competitive and prosperous Tanzania. Ladies and gentlemen present here today, before I conclude my speech, allow me to once again invite you all to the National Week of Science, Skills, and Innovation, which will take place in Tanga from 25th May to 31st May. The opening ceremony will be graced by Honorable Professor Adolf Mkenda, our Minister for Education, Science and Technology, on 27th May 2024. The closing ceremony will be graced by Honorable Kassim Majaliwa, the Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, and this event will take place on 31st May. Kwa hiyo tunawakaribisheni sana. Tunachokifanya hapa wiki hii ni shamra tu za wiki hiyo inayoendelea Tanga, na ninaamini sote tulioko hapa tutaweza kushiriki katika maadhimisho ya wiki hiyo Tanga. I wish to thank you all for being here, but also hoping to see you in Tanga. And I look forward to witnessing the innovative ideas and solutions being showcased during this week. Together, let us innovate for a competitive economy. After those few words, I'm now happy to declare that the Innovation Week Tanzania 2024 is now officially opened. Asante sana kunisikiliza na Mungu awabariki. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Thank you so much.
But also for officially opening the event and also inviting us to Tanga. So we hope to see some of you, if not all of you, in Tanga on Saturday. Thank you also for highlighting that we have a really interesting week ahead of us. We have tomorrow, actually, in the morning, UNICEF, and thank you, UNICEF, for the support for Innovation Week, digital skills for human capital development in the morning. In the afternoon, we have a session by Funguo and Serengeti Bites on driving Tanzania's economic competitiveness through digital transformation. That will be in the afternoon. On Thursday, and we had Mr. Mehdi here this morning, Funguo and the British High Commission have a roundtable discussion looking at how we go from research to commercialization. What does IP look like? And your areas that COSTECH also works a lot in. In the morning, again on Thursday, we have something that a lot of you mentioned today, and also Paul talked about, financial inclusion. And UNCDF will be talking about the path to inclusive digital transformation. We will also be looking at insights into the last 1 year. Friday morning, and again, a lot of people mentioned policy this morning. Friday morning, we have a policy dialogue with the Policy Forum, Business Environment Unit, and Funguo, and we're looking at policy reforms and businesses. What does the environment look like? What do we need to have an enabling and thriving environment? And of course, throughout the day today, you can meet one of our 40+ innovators, see what they're doing, get to know them. Hopefully you leave inspired or with a new partner. And when you checked in, you got a badge, right? Everybody got a badge when you checked in? Right, just to let you know, the ticketing system that is currently in use for Innovation Week 2024 is homegrown. Built here by Tanzanians, and it's going across the region and hopefully globally, right, Joe? So you're using technology and innovations that are built here by us. How exciting is that? I'm now standing between you and lunch, and I apologize. But before that, we have a really exciting speaker to close us out. And I'll leave her to stand between you and lunch then. But we'd like to invite Ms. Catherine Gifford, Deputy Country Representative for UN Women Tanzania, to share her closing address with us. Karibu, Catherine. Oh, you can do better than that for her. Come on, I need to hear it. Or you don't get lunch. That's better.
Thank you. I promise not to take very long, and I'm mindful that lunch is waiting, but let me please begin by saying Professor Caroline Nombo, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Honorable Ambassadors, Dr. Emas Nongo, Director General COSTEC, Mr. Sergio Baldini, Deputy Representative UNDP, development partners, representatives from civil society, members of the media, invited guests, the panelists, and all of the experts in the room, Mabibi na Mambwana. I believe I can say now habari za machana, I hope, yeah, okay. It is a pleasure to just have the opportunity to share some brief closing remarks with you here at this Innovation Week Tanzania 2024, which has been so well organized by the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, the Commission for Science and Technology, and UNDP through its Funguo Innovation Program, in collaboration with other innovation ecosystem stakeholders. And UN Women has really been pleased to have partnered with Innovation Week for a number of years now, and we're very proud to collaborate again this year. So ladies and gentlemen, we know and we've heard from everyone today that innovative approaches are essential to accelerating progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals, and of course will be imperative for realizing the Tanzania Vision 2050. Innovations in policies, which we've heard about, management, finance, science, and technology that disrupt business as usual are crucial, and that extends from mobile banking ventures that facilitate women's entrepreneurship to e-learning platforms that bring classrooms to people, social innovations, all of which can be powerful tools to break trends and enhance awareness, access, and opportunities for many, including those, and most importantly, those with the least access. We heard today about the centrality of inclusivity as it's key to realize the country's development aspirations. However, we know, and again, we've heard a bit, that disparities continue to exist in access and use of innovation and technology, and that more efforts, more intensive efforts, more disruptive efforts are required to ensure that all of the benefits reach women and men, girls and boys equally. I won't bore you with data, but just to say that we know right now that 90% of future jobs around the world are going to require ICT skills. Currently, many jobs require these, yet far fewer girls than boys are enrolled in science, and women are significantly underrepresented in science and engineering professions. And we've heard from our panelists, from the Honorable Permanent Secretary, about the critical need for strengthening digital literacy, human capital development, and enhancing access to finance. And I really want to take the opportunity to commend the government of Tanzania, the development partners, private sector, and other actors for the exemplary efforts to ensure an inclusive economy. And UN Women, as part of the broader, wider UN system, remains committed to continuing to work with the government, with all partners to address the digital gender divide, enhance women's participation in innovation and technology. And I encourage all of us to use this platform over this week, over the weeks that come, to be inspired and to renew our commitment to advancing gender equality in the workplace, market, and community, and to ensure that the unique needs and perspectives of women and girls are taken into account in developing all of the solutions that we're working towards. UN Women will be, and is, actively engaged in this Innovation Week. We'll be spotlighting some of the exciting work that's being done to bridge the digital gender gap. We invite you, please, to come and visit our exhibition space that showcases the remarkable achievements of young girls who have benefited from coding camps that we have undertaken, and the innovative digital solutions that they have and are creating. We will also be hosting a side event in partnership with D-Lab to celebrate the strides made by young women and girls in innovation in digital spaces. Please do join us. And as I just conclude now, allow me to extend my heartfelt appreciation to all of the participants for their enthusiastic engagement in this morning's captivating dialogue, and our exploration of how we can effectively navigate Tanzania's innovation journey to 2050 and innovation strategies for Tanzania's economic competitiveness has really set a dynamic tone for the coming days. Thank you for contributing to the exciting promise of the innovations ecosystem, both for the future and for driving further progress towards sustainable development. Asante sana.
So Austin and I have an essay we'd like to read. It's about 5 hours long. We all have the energy for that, right? We can't hear you. Do you have the energy for like a 5-hour-long essay? Or would you like something to eat? Okay, you're going to have to say food or chakula really loud. So I'm going to count to 3. And if you want to eat, we have to hear you say chakula. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Austin, they just want to go home. That's more coconut chips for me.
Go ahead. We have to allow the guest of honor to eat.
Okay. So, for our VIP partners and for our VIP guests and partners, would you please join us? Even though you didn't say chakula, you can join us in the VIP room for something to eat. And we haven't forgotten about our innovators and our participants here today. So for our attendees, you can grab something to eat in the Mkomazi room. If you enter through the front door, you make a left, walk about 15 steps, and you will smell some delicious food that you can get. And for our VIP guests and partners, make your way through the door on my right, and you can do a bit of networking and grab something to eat.
Naomba wote sasa tusimame ili tuweze kuruhusu mgeni wetu rasmi aendelee na ratiba yake nyingine ngumu sana, lakini tumpigie makofi mengi kumshukuru kwa muda wake. Let's just put our hands together for her. Tunakushukuru sana katibu mkuu wetu, asante sana, asante. Ukitaka jambo lako liende, msinikotu waandishi wa habari. Fanyeni kazi na makatibu wakuu. Hao sio wanasiasa. Sasa Catherine, naomba tuwakumbushe washiriki what is the website ya Innovation Week, whereby you can all see what is transpiring, all the discussion. Lakini pia namuona mkurugenzi mtendaji wa TTCL. Tunashukuru sana kwa kuja, lakini tunashukuru zaidi kwa ubunifu ambao TTCL inaendelea kufanya. Mbona alivyofanana na ndugu yake, the Ulangans. Proud of this too. Tunashukuru sana. Please be seated. Naomba tuketi sasa.
So just really quickly, www.innovationweek.org if you want to see the whole program. And we hope to see you here for the rest of the week. And then in Tanga on Saturday.
Innovationweek.org. Kwa taarifa zote, discussion zote zitakazoendelea, naomba tuingie kwenye website innovationweek.org, utakuta content ya kutosha huko. Lakini sasa hivi baada ya chakula cha mchana, naomba tutembelee mabanda ya maonyesho hapo nje, exhibition booth, lakini pia let us all mingle, network, grow together, discuss issues, create partnerships, and this is how innovation space is going to grow bigger and wider.
Thank you all so much for coming, and see you during the week.
Tunashukuru sana, msiondoke, tubaki na tuendelee kukutana wiki nzima. Tuko hapa kujadili mambo mbalimbali. Karibuni sana.